G'day everyone, Jimbo coming to you from my YouTube channel. I just thought I'd put this up again. My daughter's sparkly shit just to make the set a bit more visually exciting. Now, I put up a post last time which was why Jimbo married an Asian from a shithole third world country who just wants him for a visa. Quite a striking title. And I was basically just saying what, not a lot, but a few people think, and they write in saying, oh, you fucking, you married someone from a shitty third world country and they just want you for a visa. And, you know, ultimately this racism, whatever, I couldn't give a fuck about racism. Like, if you're racist, whatever. I don't want to censor you. But this angst that you're getting from people who think this is basically comes down to economic. Like, you're bringing in someone who's going to fucking take away money from me. Not money which comes from the central bank. It's not even Australian. It doesn't even exist. It's just an idea which we've been mind controlled into thinking about. But and anyway, so I just thought I'd address it. I know people say don't feed the trolls, but I'm on this long term and it comes up again and again, and it's just like someone graffitiing your house. So if it comes up again, I can just give them this link, and the link basically says Japan's hardly a shitty third world country. First world, incredibly clean, and we're not married. And Yumi, as much as she's seen Australia, she doesn't particularly like living there. Plus something else I added, the Gary the Goat thing. Someone wrote in going, why don't you, instead of giving money to her, give it to Australian farmers or whatever. It's like, mate, I wouldn't have had the Gary the Goat thing unless she'd put in some of her personal money into keeping me going. So I'm hoping to turn that around. But the whole situation is ridiculous. I just wanted to say, but I also wanted to say in the context of, say someone has married someone from a shitty third world country. Shitty, I assume, is like just dirty. There's a lot of clean, like Japan's the cleanest country in the world. But there are a lot of, I've been to India, I don't actually mind it. I wipe my hand with my ass. The irony of wiping your hand with your ass, I know people won't believe this a lot. It's actually, if you're in a room and there's a tap and you can wipe your ass with the water with your hand, it's actually cleaner. You actually clean your ass a lot better than just with fucking toilet paper. And then you just go and wash your hands with water. And as far as germs and everything, just drink urine. That just disinfects you. That's what I do when I'm in India. Just drink heaps of urine. Just don't get any barley belly or any of that diarrhea stuff at all. So there are way around things. But I just want to say the response I got from this was like 178 likes and 4 dislikes, which I assume 4 dislikes are probably from people who just didn't get the satire and just read the title. Why Jimbo married an Asian woman from a shitty third world country, just wants his version. Yeah, fuck, I hate that. Dislike. And other people who, there's a few people on my site who, like, within the comments, I don't think there was anyone. There was one, but it disappeared, can't find it, who were standing up for this right-wing, hardcore racist view because it doesn't stand up in the court of public opinion. Someone said, who would have thought that strikes? It's almost as if cultures are different and are not interchangeable. Who would have thought? Now, I presume that's kind of a dig at, like, sort of saying, in the comments I wrote, I said that Yumi's criticism of Australian culture is that it's when you get rid of the materialism and the alcohol, there's kind of not much there. And I agree to a certain extent. Now, I can obviously dig a lot further when I go around and bring out the characters and the camaraderie and the humour, which is unique to Australia and I love. But I can access that a lot. She can see it. She can see, she goes, yeah, there's fucking funny cunts in Australia, unlike any other country in the world. The funny yobbo in Australia is fucking funny, man. But, I can see the criticisms of the Japanese culture as well, where it's a bit, it's hard to be a black sheep. It's hard to stand out. It doesn't affect me. I'm not here to rock the boat, but I'm in this country, Japanese town, which I've got to admit, Japan is expensive, right? Tokyo is probably one of the most expensive cities in the world. The same as Sydney, if not more, right? But Japan country is pretty fucking cheap, man. But if I was a single bloke here, it'd be pretty fucking boring, really. There's a lot of respect, order, and cleanliness here, but there's not many titty bars. You know what I mean? There's not much rock and roll here. It's, I've got my family and I just want to focus on that, but it's not. I don't think it's a big thing for tourists to come out to the country. If you can't speak the language and whatever, but it's fucking safe, man. You'll be respected if you just don't be a dickhead. So I've got criticisms of each culture, and but the one guy wrote in, I can't see it, I don't know where it is, but he basically says, my YouTube, the comments come and go. I don't know, there's weird censorship happening, but he basically said, you criticised Australian culture. Disrespect it. There's a difference between disrespect and criticism, but what I'm getting is, and it blows me away, that the political landscape at the moment, and Jordan Peterson, have you seen this guy on the internet? If not, Jordan Peterson, just Google him and watch one of his YouTubes. He's the man of the moment on the YouTube, and I hope he keeps being the man of the moment, because he's and he's not like just a young superstar. He's in his 50s. He's just come to prominence because he was a lecturer in Canada who basically stood up to this thing where they were going to introduce a law where you got to address transgender people by their correct pronoun, and there's about 6 of them, and if you don't, it's criminal offence. And he just went, this is fucking bullshit. It's impinging on freedom of speech. And then he had all these videos on the net, people watched him, and now he's been asked on these talkback shows and everything. He's slaying it because he takes the best of the left-wing views, centrist left-wing views, progressiveness, inclusiveness, and the best of the right-wing views, which is inequality of outcome. So the best of the left-wing is equality of opportunity, and the right-wing one is inequality of outcome. You don't just give people equal opportunities just based on their identity and expect the outcome to be particularly good. And a lot of people who are benefiting from being minorities, whether it's women, disabled, different cultures, different non-white cultures, are waking up to this, where they're just going, hang on, I want you to give me the job because you think I'm good, not because of your fucking skin colour or my race or anything like this. And Jordan Peterson's really fucking red-pilling a lot of people. You can see, like, Kanye West. Like, he's basically some Candace woman, a black... I should know her name, but anyway, she's basically getting onto these campuses and just going, well, fucking black people, what are you talking about? You got to press, slavery and all this. Like, that was your grandparents' grandparents. Are you slaves now? Well, stop claiming victimhood. It's a free world now, and... people just love their victimhood status because that gets access to money and status and jobs. But the outcome from this is not good. So there's this political block forming now of the centre of the left and the right are joining together, and they're looking at the far left and the far right as being ridiculous for 2 reasons. One, identity politics. The far right has got this identity politics, whereas if you're not from a certain race or religion or what, you shouldn't be on the starting line. You should be, no, because, they just go, well, you're going to have shit results, so just wipe them all out. And it's completely ridiculous, completely insane. And, but it doesn't stand up to the court of public opinion, so therefore I think their views should be seen, including on my page. They can't stand up and debate it. So it's like, don't censor them, air them, and they just put a bit of heat on them and they just disappear. I mean, that's what I've done. I've just put a bit of heat on the people repeatedly saying, Yumi's from a third world shitty fucking country and you're just here for a visa. And then, welcome to the comments. They disappear. And also frame that in terms of, say someone does marry someone from a shitty third world country and they're just using them from a visa. Who's to say that isn't a factor in their relationship which makes it work? I mean, say Trump and Melania, the supermodel and the billionaire. I'm sure there is a bit of a trade-off between looks and money in that relationship, but it's not the whole totality of the relationship. So, yeah, I was just basically stating in my case, not that I think that would be wrong if I married someone from a shitty third world country who just wanted a visa. Who am I to say? But it's just not the facts in our relationship. So can you actually say something a bit more personal? But getting onto this political thing, it's really exciting. You got the identity politics on the far right, which the right-hand side of politics have completely got under control. Like the 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 alternate right, not the old guard George Bush right, but the new right coming up, which is mainly left-wingers just coming over, because they go, oh yeah, right, you're not homophobic, racist, or sexist, and you're for freedom of speech, free will, and free markets, not this crony capitalism that's happening now. So you've got that under control. You've got the example of Hitler and all that. You just go, no, we're not going to go there. That's not us. People who are thinking Trump's going to turn into a Hitler is completely ridiculous. You know, remember when he got elected, they were going, oh, he's going to kick out all Muslims? Like, no. So that's not what he's about. And the people voted him in wouldn't be for it either if he did turn into that. I mean, a lot of the people who voted for him were pretty shocked that he bombed Syria. And, you know, a lot of traditional people on the left are going, yeah, it's like, fuck, how come the left has turned into warmongers? And, you know, including me, I don't know about Syria, but I don't know what situation Trump's in. I don't know whether he's got to deal with Putin and Assad just going, hey, we'll just fucking play lip service to these warmongers who are trying to get control of us, but we all know we're not going to fucking fight each other if we do anything. I'll just fucking bomb a tent. I don't know. But there are things I disagree with Trump and the alternate right. Obviously, I'm all for decriminalisation of all drugs, and that's coming from someone who's just completely, personally not interested in drugs at all. But yeah, this emerging political body which is marrying up the left and the right and the centre. So the identity of the politics of the far right is well known, and I don't believe in censoring them, because what the left is doing, the far left, is basically using them as an example of all the right. So they're using these far right people as an example. We've got to censor their hate speech and then labelling it on people that are just right-wing. It's like, no, we're not into this, you know, racial superiority stuff and purity and all that. And I feel I can really say I'm a Trump supporter and everything, because I'm obviously not going to get that. I'm not going to sort of get that, oh, you're a racist, Jimbo, because I've got not only going out with a Japanese girl, I've got half Asian kids, so I'm pretty damn racist. I've said that quite a lot. But the identity politics of the left is as similar to the identity politics of the far right. The identity politics of the far left is similar to the identity politics of the far right, because it judges people on your identity, but it promotes people on your identity, whereas the far right demotes people on their identity. Whereas the middle block, the centrist left and right, just don't give a fuck about whether you're disabled, gay, what sex, what nationality, race, religion. You're all on the starting line. If you come up with a good idea or work or whatever, fucking you're in the ring. So it's not like, it's more like, I just don't give a fuck who you are. Like, just do something and let me judge you on what you do, not your skin colour or your race or something. Let me judge you on something that's got something to do with you, not something that you're born into. It's got nothing to do with you. It's like paying out, like the people who pay out anyone on their skin colour, even pay out someone who's born rich. It's like, that's not their decision. Holding on to money is pretty fucking hard. So, and that's another thing. I'm getting into Gary Bucks. I think there's an intelligence in getting money and also holding on to it required. And you need an intelligence, but you also need an intelligence to survive without much money. And I'm going to get onto this Gary Bucks thing, right? Because just hold the Gary Bucks thing. The centrists are rising up, and whoever's running the joint in the world hates it. They want to divide left and right, but if the left and the right and the middle marry up together and are just against far left and far right, that's the new Renaissance. The Renaissance was the rights of the individual. I think Ayn Rand said, like, there is no smaller minority than the individual, and anyone who goes into judging people on race, or it's what, say, Milo Yiannopoulos, the classic example where the far left is basically championing people who are gay and black people and oppress, Jewish people. And he comes out and goes, look, I'm gay, I'm married to a black guy, and my mum's Jewish, but I don't believe in this shit, this identity politics. And the far left's going, hang on, you're the exact person we give rights to. And he's coming out and saying, like, particularly in being gay, he says, I've got a lot of privilege in being gay, especially in the entertainment industry. It's like, there's a red carpet put down for me. I can get away with a lot more shit because I'm gay. And I get a lot more kudos because of it. But he goes, I don't want people to give me that kudos because I'm gay, or I'm married to a black guy, or I'm half Jewish. It's because of my ideas. And that's what's coming out. Kanye West has basically come out with this Candace woman who's basically just saying, don't get into this identity politics. The black people, don't just vote Democrats because you think they're the ones who are, who aren't racist. It's bullshit. And Kanye West has come out and supported her, and it's coming out this morning that on one of his blogs, someone's gone, oh look, I can see on his YouTube thing photo that he's watching Jordan Peterson. So Jordan Peterson's having a massive impact. Hopefully this guy goes into politics because the world would be better off for it, and the world's fucking ready for it. The marrying of the centre left and the centre right and getting the best out of both of them is fucking happening now, man. And people are looking at the political parties on offer and going, fuck, there's no one really representing this centre left and centre right. They're seen as the rise of the nationalists, the populist parties. It's like the populist part. Rise of the populist parties is seen by the mainstream media as bad. Rise of something that's popular is seen as bad in a democratic country. Like, the mainstream media has completely lost it in terms of the court of public opinion. And so you got this far left thing coming out of the universities, where they do all these things on gender identity and all this, identity politics, and then they're going to big business and going, you should put it in, have diversity and all this stuff. And big business is slowly going, oh yeah, righto, and now they're suddenly going, hang on, that's not the best thing for results. And, who gives a fuck what colour you are anyway, or fucking whatever. So I think it's exciting times, but the big problem I've got with this block emerging in the middle, which I think has won the culture war at the moment, if it's not censored. So that's why the left, the far left and the far right love censorship. They want to put in, they know that their views cannot hold up in the court of public opinion, so they have to get a control of the law and then make it illegal for people to do this. So the far left and the far right are really into being offended, and if you're offended, I want the law to back me up. But the far left and the far right, they're losing power. The far right's lost power. People are really, truly racist. They're just fucking laughable, man. There's not a threat. There's so little of them. They've got such a little argument, as seen on my page when I address the issue. They just fucking haven't got any argument or fuck all support. So this middle block, this rise of Renaissance respect for the individual. Obviously, when the Renaissance, it's a Western value, but when it came out, it was mainly for, the reality is mainly for white male men in the business arena, where they just said, fuck class, fuck this, we just want the best ideas. And it was the rise of capitalism in the 1800s, which is great, but it's gone into crony capitalism now, which is basically an industry gets so big, they just bribe the government to basically, here's some money, can you make sure, put all these regulations in to ban any other people giving us any competition. We'll just keep feeding you heaps of fucking money, and we'll tell the press to keep saying that, anything other than what we provide is just snake oil salesmen. So it's the rise of the individual, but it's for everyone. Women, disabled, race, religion, everyone's on the starting line now, and it probably needed a correction, but the progressive war has been won, but it went too far when the far left started just saying we're going to make laws to say you've got to dress people this way. When you're starting to make laws about how you can talk, that's seriously impinging on freedom of speech. And it's only the far left and the far right who don't like freedom of speech, because that's the only way they can force people into thinking their ideas. So I'm not into censorship at all, and this thing in the middle is rising up. But what the thing in the middle, the political thing in the middle, hasn't got money sorted at all. You cannot socialism and capitalism is being rigged and always will be rigged when you've got a system where a small amount of people, central bankers, have got control of money creation, and they can just send the armies of the world onto anyone who creates their own money, like Gaddafi or Saddam, or Saddam Hussein's. All those countries have been bombed the last 20 years. They were a threat for the money system. So, the big threats now are Iran and North Korea, the two countries that really aren't controlled by the central bankers, but they are in terms of sanctions and all that shit. So this block in the middle and the alternate right questions the Federal Reserve, audit the Fed and all this, but I don't think you should go after them in terms of, find out who they are. Like, who gives a fuck whether they're Muslim, Wahhabis, Jewish, or leprechauns on the other side of Saturn? Who gives a fuck? You've got to replace their money system with something, and that's what I'm doing with this Gary Bucks. I'm having a go. I've done it on. I'm going to do a. This is the experiment I've done. I've put it up on Facebook. Obviously, these posts aren't popular like a funny goat, but who gives a fuck, man? I'm not into this for the money. I'm enjoying these posts a bit more than I did with Gary. And I enjoyed Gary, but just on a personal level, I can kind of evolve into something. I might get a goat down the track. I don't know. Might be in Japan. Might get Kevin the Cunt. I'm just fucking just chilling with my family at the moment and getting my shit together. So, Gary Bucks, this is the story. I've got 20 people who have written in on Facebook, trophy makers, massage, dog walkers, all these people have gone, this is my business, and I'm going to give them I'm going to give them $1 million Gary Bucks. I'm going to give them $1 million bucks, but money doesn't exist. There's nothing in the periodic chart in money. So I'm going to give them $1 million Gary Bucks on the internet as an idea, and then they can then go and spend it on the other 20 people, and they can. I'll put the list down, and they can basically go, you can spend it on Australian dollars. So you go to someone giving fishing tackle, making fishing rods, and they can contact them and then go, well, look, I'll just buy it off you. I don't mind that, or barter. But if you want to exchange Gary Bucks, like if you just go, I've got $1 million Gary Bucks, just go, how much for a fishing rod? And then you just go, I don't know, $500,000 Gary Bucks. And then you write it in the comments below on the Facebook page. I'll try and do it on YouTube later, but this is just a raw experiment. And then if both of you agree that you sold it for $1 million bucks or $500,000, put the price in, and then through the thread go, yep, I got it. And then you can say whether you got it or what. But this is the big thing. At the end of the month, when you've had money for a month from any source, it disappears after a month. Now, I'm going to have to finesse this as it goes, but I'm just to make it easy, I haven't got a programmer to do this, so hopefully a program will come in. After a month, everyone's got the Gary Bucks. The money gets taken off everyone. So 20 million bucks gets taken off. Now, if there's another 20 people who've joined in, they've said, yeah, I want to be part of this. This is my little, I make storybooks for kids. I want to advertise this. And another 20 join in, there's 40. So the 20 million bucks gets divided up with 40 people. So there's $500,000 bucks each. That's the dole for everyone. And then you've got to do it. So the idea of that is that it's like squatting rights with property. If you got a property that's, it's been derelict for 20 years and someone moves in and then they live there for 10 years and do it up, they've got squatting rights. I don't know exactly what the rights are, but I think the same thing should be with money. Why have a whole lot of money if you're not going to fucking use it? And they also say that money is like blood in the system. If the blood's circulating in a body, it's a healthy body. But if it's not circulating, you get necrosis and gangrene. And that's what our financial system is at the moment. It's like it's not circulating right. It's just being held up, especially with low interest rates, and it's not moving around. And this continual inputting of money is just like someone dying but being kept alive through blood transfusions. It's not healthy. So the Gary Bucks thing is just going to promote circulation of money, and the end result is hopefully good products, because there's going to be no regulations. You can just say, oh well, I do goat noises. Ring me up and, let's negotiate a price and I'll give you a goat noise. So, if you want to join in, just write in the comments below. Just put a hyperlink to your business, whether it be on Facebook or whatever, and what you do, so people can contact you and I'll add you to the list. So, Gary Bucks, that's to me, the extension of this current phenomenon. It's exciting, the marrying up the centre, left and right, and both of them going, you know what, the far left and the far right with your identity politics and your censorship is completely ridiculous. We're not going to censor you because we don't believe in that, because the moment we censor you, you can censor us. And no, we're just going to, you know, people just see that the far left and the far right, and then they're not a threat if we realise in the middle that we're all together, and then we can progress in a world where we want inequality of outcome, and then that produces excellence, and that excellence gets shared with everyone. And I think you can live an excellent life with a lot of money, and also an excellent life with not a lot of money. I'm actually thinking about Gary was I spent so much money on hotels and keeping the business going, and at the moment I can just concentrate a bit on my health and my family, and just fucking spending. I'm not going backwards like I was before. So yeah, Gary Bucks is an experiment I'm going to do. So that's the end of it, guys. I did a long, big ramble. I don't give a fuck about views on this thing, but I do appreciate your opinion, and I do fucking listen to it, because the court of public opinion is the court we've got to uphold, and we've got to keep the court of law out of that, man. It's just humanity can work this out all together if we can source all of our stuff. Whereas at the moment, I just want to leave on these banks. The idea of a bank is like, it's derived from like a riverbank. A riverbank directs money. A riverbank isn't money. It directs money, and that's what the banking system does. From the central bank to all the feeder banks and the taxes and the government, they direct money. You buy something off someone, you got to go through something else. Like for me to get money off you, I've got to like advertise T-shirts or some other fucking business or something, and then half of that goes to them, and then it gets taxed, and the banks. So this Gary Bucks is knocking away all the banks. It's just directly giving each other this thing that doesn't exist, money. It's just a lube. And I'm not anti-money, because this Gary Bucks overcomes the barter problem, where if I've got oranges, you've got apples, and I want some apples, but you don't want oranges, how do we trade? Gary Bucks enables that. But Gary Bucks, all the people on this list of Gary Bucks, it could be just free advertising. You might just go into it because it's advertising. People can still buy it off you in Australian dollars or English dollars or whatever. They can still barter, and you've also got Gary Bucks to use. Hopefully a few people use Gary Bucks, and hopefully a few people won't, because if you're on the list, it'll just continually be put into the dole, so everyone can keep getting money each month, and most importantly, use it rather than hoard it. And that's the big problem with the cryptocurrencies now. Bitcoin, people talk about it in terms of number one reason, I got it for this and now it's worth this, I'm going to keep holding on to it in case it gets bigger. People aren't talking about Bitcoin in terms of, it produced this magnificent building or this new technology or whatever. So Gary Bucks hopefully can create that stuff, and it's not a hoarding currency. So that's it from Sparkly Land. Let us know your comments, everyone, including from the far left and the far right. I appreciate it. Ta.